Okay, let's go ahead and get going, guys. Let's jump into everything. Like always, not financial advice. Do what's best for you. What a crazy week in the market last week. I think somewhat historic in some ways. I think we'll talk about this. Just like we talk about the other big bearish declines. And unfortunately, I don't think this decline is over yet. This decline isn't over yet. So I just kind of updated my charts, and again for all my members, these charts I want to get these out probably late tonight or tomorrow morning. But just so you can see, we're looking at this pattern here on the SPY. And again, for $5 a month, guys, you get this analysis. Okay. Here you have 3 down for W, 3 up for the connector wave, and then you have another decline. Now, what I was hoping for was to get some support around 530. We bounce, right? I was hoping for this, right? And let's go, boom, the bull market is back on. But we didn't get that. We got something much more bearish. And the problem is we have the first leg that should be finishing up next week. And then a relief rally that should fail for one more low. Okay, because if you look at this leg and look at this leg, you see this relief rally it took from February 4th to the 19th, a little over a couple weeks. So we need another rally in equal magnitude. So this is just the first leg, as here or here. It's just the first leg. We need a relief rally and another low, and then we could have a bottom. But then we have a big problem on our hands. Now we're looking at violating potentially a wave 4 count. So that leaves us with 2 possibilities on the SPY. A 1-2, 1-2 for a massive, massive bull market in the future, and a 3-3, or the grand super cycle has peaked and we just don't realize it yet. And I can't call it peaked in the all the indices except for the triple Qs, because we haven't broken our monthly RSI trend line, which was the clue that let us know the top was in earlier on. That's how we knew this was going to be a more serious correction. But we don't have that on the monthly time frame on the Dow Jones SPY yet. So because of that, I can't like emphatically say, yep, the grand super cycle's over, and we either will have an epic crash next week like we've never seen, historic 1929 style crash, or we're going to get this, and then we will bounce all summer only to go into October time frame or September and then have the epic crash of our life. So what is it? What is it? I think the yen is the key to know. And I think the market doesn't have time to bounce comfortably over 3 or 4 months and then crash later. I think it's going to happen quick. If it's going to be the end of the grand super cycle type crash, it's probably going to happen next week, and everyone's going to be annihilated. Any long position will be destroyed. It will be a bloodbath in the market. Like Kramer said, 87 style. The conditions are there for that. But the most likely path is something like this, where you have a little bit of a relief rally, some hope comes back into the market next week or over the weekend, and then it fails again for some reason, and then you get the low. And then you can either talk about that it's a 1-2 setup, or will we rally and fail, and that will be up to the Japanese yen to decide that. And the reason the Japanese yen is so important to watch is we haven't hit our target area. In fact, we're nowhere close. Back in the August flash crash, we were up here. Okay, we were up here. We didn't know we were in a big correction, although we did have a big top here. Somebody on this live stream asked me to look at the yen, and I did call the peak in. But I didn't really understand the implications of what that meant. We were watching the VIX more here. But now we have this big crash, right? Boom! And the market's VIX up like 300-400% in 24 hours. All hell broke loose. There's no reason to say that this same thing can happen again on Monday or Tuesday. And then the correction is over. And then we have a chance at either going back to new all-time highs on this chart here, breaking this high, or we'll bounce and then fail later. So if we can come find support here and go to new highs, the market is likely in a 1-2-1-2 setup, and you get that moon boy pump that everyone dreams about, the bulls dream about. But if it's not, if you get just a connector, then the market's set up for a catastrophe later in the year, and the grand super cycle's over. So the question is, what are we in? It appears, because of where the yen is, we're not in a 4 anymore. We're in either a 1-2-1-2, or we're at the top of the grand super cycle, but we haven't got the technical confirmation yet in all the indices to make that call. So that's the setup in the market. It is what it is. I wish it was different. I wish it wasn't so bearish, but that's what we're seeing play out. So I think the most likely path is a relief rally potentially, and then a failure of that rally, and then a much more sustainable low that's either the bottom for new highs, or it's a connector wave. So that's the market, guys, and it is what it is. All right. So I got a lot of super chats coming in. I'm just going to go ahead and get into those, and I'll try to answer questions as they come in, and we'll go from there. Again, if the end of the grand super cycle is upon us, everything you own is going to go down. Nothing's going to survive the grand super cycle. It's all going to be, there'll be trades. This is a trade here, right? We have a trader's box. Becomes a trader's box. And then where do we go from here? Well, it's hard to say, because our levels are being violated. It's likely 440. Okay, so what I'm saying is, as I answer these questions, understand the bigger picture. The market's likely to continue lower, but we're likely to get a relief rally at any moment. At any moment. And that, I think, is another sucker's rally. Another sucker's rally. To be shorted at the end of the day, not to be, great, it's all back to normal. Then you get this. The yen is the key. If you are trading the market, you might as well have the yen, this USD JPY, glued to your screen, on another screen. And until you come down into this area or in this pink box, the market is unstable, and you're likely to get more downside no matter how big of a relief rally you get. All right, that's all I want to say on that, guys. Good luck. And it is a very dangerous market. Monday, the conditions are there for a crash. They really are. I mean, I'm not lying when I say that. The conditions are all there for a big crash. Historic, limit down. And everyone on the internet is laughing and poo-pooing at that. Even the bears, the perma bears, are saying, oh no, it's going to rip higher. That scares the shit out of me, guys. The perma bears have been actually saying this has all been a fake out. But hell, look where we are. We're at 505. You're still saying it's a fake out? When is the perma bears going to say, oh yeah, this is bearish? Guys, so this is another scary thing. If the perma bear accounts, except for one I'm following, subscribed to, is calling for more downside, then that tells me they're in denial. And then they said retail bought the dip yesterday. Then retail just got annihilated on Friday. I'm sorry, they bought the dip on Thursday. So Friday, retail just got blown up, obliterated, kaboom, destroyed. And what are they going to do? Are they going to buy the dip? They're going to run out of firepower. If this is just retail supporting the market, then the market is doomed, because they don't have enough firepower to keep this going, keep this bubble going. So also on the Dow Jones, the parabolic support is at 38.3, and it looks likely we're going to break that. So again, it's either a 1-2-1-2 or it's the end of the grand super cycle. And here's our count, guys. This is our count. And you'll have to do with it what you want. And then I believe 34,000 would be the next area of massive, should have massive support at 34,000. Look at the confluence here. It's a lot of support here at 34,000. Okay, that's the next target. If we break this trend line with no right shoulder even, it's obviously the grand super cycle is probably over, or again 1-2-1-2, and that gets you to the 382 retrace on our indices, and that's too deep for a wave 4. So that means there's no more wave 4, and the market has spoken. The market's spoken, and I'm expecting a bounce in another low like this. That's what I'm expecting, but I can't guarantee it. So you just have to decide how you want to trade this. But this is a trader's box. If you're a long-term investor, you're better off waiting till the yen is stronger in those areas I showed you. All right, Thomas, let's go to yours real quick. We'll just start from the top. I've got a lot to go through here. MODW. MOWI. Again, we called the DAX the right way, right? Collapsed. Now, here, obviously, we went down. So what did this turn into? A connector, an ABC connector and a WXY correction. All right, so it double corrected. And a lot of patterns are failed. A lot of patterns have failed, okay? And the market could be in a historic, once-in-a-lifetime bearish setup that we may never see again in our lifetime. That's how. So this is a very rare situation we may find ourselves in right now. But this is a double correction, right? And now you have to come down in Y. We've erased divergence. That's good. But you see how you had this bigger connector wave? You don't really have that here. So it's likely to continue lower after a relief rally. So it looks like to me you're in Y still. It will probably go lower, but you're due for a bounce, right? You're due for a bounce. You're due for a bounce in A. But it's likely to do that for another low. You know, something like this. And then you're in, I think this is too short. I think you could whipsaw back up and then fail again. And let's look at the bigger picture. As you can see, this setup isn't working anymore. Let's see if we erase, see how we erased divergence on that peak. So it truncated. The Y finished too soon, so it's over. And I think the market has spoken and it's going to go down like that, right? I don't think you're getting a big rally higher anymore. So the market truncated and it erased divergence. So Y just truncated on us. And now you're in the next leg lower. And after this bounce, it's likely to continue for another rally. Right, and then go down again. And then possibly after that, because see, here is just a corrective sequence, right? You just have a corrective sequence off of 1. So you're probably still in wave 2. And it's probably going to come back down. As you can see, it's a corrective sequence. And you just broke the weekly cycle. And you guys, you could analyze all your stocks the same way, and you just broke the monthly cycle. So you're in the corrective wave. So obviously it's pretty bearish, and it's breaking down in a 3-wave move down. It's likely to come back and retest this low. The way to understand when it could end is go back to the weekly cycle look for a pivot, and then you can draw a trend line, but we don't have that set up yet. So this will create that pivot and then one more low, and then you can just wait until that trend line breaks and get in again. So that's what it looks like to me. Something like this should be playing out. Okay. All right. Next is H2ZH. Okay. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll look at that. So you have your 3 here, and then it looks like a 5. Oh, let's get rid of this. Sorry, guys. There. All right. So the RSI is still good in that trend. So there's no reason to say the cycle is over. So we won't call the cycle done yet, but it could be a couple things. All right, so I'm going to call it this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC, ABC, ABC. And so to me, it's still it's in a 5 at the moment, and because when I look at the miners, I think they're in a flat. My guess is this is going to flat out and find support. That's what it looks like you're in. It's in a flat, and it's going to come back down here, and then it should find support to continue higher, to either extend the cycle or it or come back down. So I think this is the likely path that you're going to see. But if that trend line breaks I showed earlier, then we have to call the 5 in here. And if that's the case, then it's likely to drop all the way back down to 21. So it looks like, if I wanted to bet on this, I probably would put the 5 here and just play it safe and expect something like this to play out, because it's likely as this develops, you'll break the trend line and then you'll confirm the top. But you'll have to watch it in real time to understand, will 5 extend, or is it already in 1 and we'll get 2 and come out later. My thinking is it's probably going to be this, but the data isn't there to support it, so you could still say, be a little more hopeful and expect a little more upside. But if this continues sharply lower, it's likely to negate that, and then it's a 5, and then you'll become like a 1-2. All right. A lot of bulls in denial, especially in stock twits. Yeah, it's hard to break the habit of buy the dip, guys. It's hard to break the habit. And bears are even in denial. Like, they want to say, oh, no. This is going to be a huge rally next week. He's just playing with you guys. The Japanese yen says otherwise. Yeah, there could be a rally, but I don't know about a huge rally. But go ahead. Go ahead, put your whole stack in. Good luck. Good luck to you. Good luck to you guys. Very dangerous market. Like I said, if you're a trader, you're in a trader's box right now that could get a bounce. But if you're a long-term investor, you're better off putting that money aside and waiting for a better opportunity. Let this play out a little more. And that's essentially what they were saying on CNBC last night, right? They said the same thing, and those guys are big time. They're not chasing stuff. They're like, yeah, we're gonna sit this and let this play out a little bit. And there really is no reason to chase unless you're trading it and you're nimble and you can watch it in your screen the whole day. Okay, FFAI. So the unfortunate thing, and guys, you got to understand, all these small symbols, all those small symbols, I'm gonna give you some very bad news. The Russell is playing out exactly as planned, and it's probably going much lower. All your little symbols everybody owns is likely to go down a lot more than you think, and some go out of business. Out of business, zero. We're breaking the October 22 lows, or May, or whatever, June lows. These are going to break. This is going to break. I've been very clear with this chart. All the way back up to here. We've never wavered from it. And I said it would be a crash correction when it occurs, just like this fractal. Okay, and that's what we're seeing. Okay, so I'm just saying. So as I analyze all those symbols, because I know I get a lot of questions on this, don't be sad when I'm like, there's probably not, you've got a long way to go down. And a lot of those little symbols are going to, little small caps and meme stocks are likely to go either out of business completely, zero, or go lower. So just understand the headwinds that are coming in the market that you're already experiencing. So this is another one. You see how you broke this low here? That opens you up for a whole nother leg lower off of this high. A catastrophe for investors. This will be a catastrophe for investors that are holding this in hope of a big pump, because it's not coming. I guarantee you it's not coming anytime soon. So what would you want to do? Short it. Short the pops. Okay, because I see this trending on the internet, and it's just it's bad information trying to get retail to buy these things. And again, the people that are pumping it, I really wonder if they actually are buying it, even though they're saying buy it. Okay, I'm just saying. As you can see, you pretty much erased divergence here and here. So this isn't a 3 and 4 anymore, like I would have expected. It's another 1, 2. Okay, it's another 1, 2. And obviously that's another 1, 2. Okay. Now you're about to go into the 3 of 3. The collapse. That's the setup, man. I wish I had better news. Hopefully you're short this. And could there still be a game, games here? Sure. It could still be in this degree too. And do something like that. And then go down. So be careful. You can't rule this scenario out. And it looks like 3 waves down. It looks like it may try to do something like this, some kind of game here. And you in the reversal could happen at 125, 134, and that's actually an area where you could short it if you wanted to. Against this peak, 150. Okay, next is CGC. Again, all the small stuff. The Russell is you're in danger. I can't emphasize enough how dangerous the market is right now for these small cap stocks. All right, let's take a look here. CGC. So you're still holding a 5th wave. You're still in a 3. So you're in. You're finishing up. If this count is right, you're finishing up this 5, and you should be getting a bounce with another low. But again, if you erase divergence, then it goes even lower. And then you're probably looking at this company going out of business for whatever reason. Maybe the tariffs, they can't overcome the tariffs. Maybe I don't know. But here you go. I think this is the count for now. So you may get a rally. You may get a rally here in this 4. But it's likely to fail one more time, at least one more time. Where are we matched up with on this? This too. So you see, it has a pretty big pump. So maybe you are due for a bigger rally here, a relief rally. This one may be a little bit bigger, but it's likely to fail one more time. Do something like this. If this count can hold now, if it starts to accelerate lower and erase divergence, then it's a broken chart and it's likely to go much lower. And I would be very careful owning it. Let's take a look at this one. So the bullish setup was negated, right? It turned into a corrective structure. Actually, it looks like more like a flat structure, like most of the market got stuck in. And so off of this peak, let's take a look here. Yeah, I still would call it a flat. I still call it a flat. We'll look at what sector it trades in. So it's like a double bottom situation, so it's going to be tough to time the low. But if you break this, it negates the flat, and then you're looking at a bigger connector wave in here in some kind of pattern where you have yeah, it would devastate this. So this is a point of no return. If 73 cents break, this would have been a connector wave here. And then this would have been 1, and then you would have had an A, B, C, and then it'll be just a catastrophe all the way down. So it really has to hold this level. It's in a flat right now. What is it? Sector is this? Some kind of biologics, small cap. Again, you have to watch the XBI. The XBI is a key level here. Unfortunately, it is in the box where it should turn. So if this is likely to turn here, GERN is likely to bottom here. But I'm telling you, if XBI breaks 60 bucks this low, this will complete a head and shoulders, and it will be a catastrophe for any biotech investor. Okay, so this is the point of no return for biotechs. It's come where we're in that box now. It should. If this technical pattern plays out, everything should be okay, right? So you have to decide how you want to play it. Now you understand the backdrop in the market, and you'll have to decide to do what's best for you. I'm going to leave it labeled the way I have it as a flat, and then you'll have to decide how you want to trade it, knowing that the market is likely to still continue lower, and perhaps be at the end of the grand super cycle as well. And it's unlikely that this will turn unless that forecast is wrong, right? Or it just defies gravity and people see biotech as a safe haven in that situation. But here's the setup. So the XBI is in the box. This is ready to go. So it's likely ready to turn based on this analysis. But given the overall market forecast, I would be very careful. And then if we break this, it will be a waterfall, free fall, just like we would if we broke 61.91. So if anyone owns any small biotechs out there or anything like that, you break this low, you need to like look at shorting them, not buying them anymore. You have to erase from your mind owning them, because this will produce a catastrophe. What that will tell me is a lot of those are going out of business. A lot of them will go out of business. They won't be able to cope with the downturn. They won't be able to raise money anymore like they thought they would. The tariffs may be harming them more than they expected. We don't know the situation fundamentally, but this pattern is telling you a catastrophe for biotech will happen if this line breaks in the sand here. A catastrophe. I'm just saying. All right? So keep an eye on that. CRVO is another one. It's kind of the same situation probably as the others. Looks like you got a pump on that. You see how it finished in 3, so it turned into the whip, like a whipsaw off of this peak. Let's take a look here. 1, 2. Yeah, so it turned into a whipsaw off of that peak. Interesting. Actually, probably label it like this. Because it maintained divergence. Yeah, you have to label it like this. So now it corrected the cycle back up to the 4. So I would probably be looking for a new cycle lower to start. And I would expect a new cycle lower to begin. So maybe you could short this up below 1420. It should be a short opportunity. It should just turn lower. This just ended up being a big corrective wave off of this 5-wave move. It came back up at the 4 and it got rejected. So it's likely to go down similar to what you saw here and take a whole nother leg lower. As long as you're below 1697, it's likely to continue lower to finish another 5 waves and do probably the same thing. All right, costs. So costs went into the box. It turned into, this was a connector wave. And again, if the Russell's under pressure, you don't want to own this, right? You don't want to own any of these small caps. And if you're trapped in them, you need to use the rallies to get out of them. Like don't hold out hope. Don't do that. That's what gets investors to lose all their money. Some of these small caps are going to go out of business with these charts. They're not going to survive. You're going to end up with zero. You just don't know which ones they're going to be, okay? We just don't know which ones. I'm not saying this is one, but I'm just, people that keep asking me about these small caps, you got to understand the risk you're taking because everything's breaking down, okay? So here you have 5 waves down, okay? So the way I would label this, is this is 5 down from this peak. Right? And then you have 3 here of some kind. Something like that.
There's still one more.
That looks like 5 down there. So you have 3, here you go, you got 3 waves down. So if you look at this, it looked like it should be finished, right? A, B, C for Y. But what I'm concerned about is, let's take a look. Is that's too much divergence there? That's why we had the bottom earlier and it violated the structure. So looking at this a second time, more than likely, we're still in some kind of 5th wave. It's still going to push lower, and it should erase that divergence, which likely means this is probably in another 1-2 here. It's likely to push lower to erase that divergence to finish it. So I would expect more downside, perhaps. Perhaps the worst is yet to come. Yeah, it looks like here, like a 1-2, 1-2 setup. It looks like it could have a massive move lower any moment now. All right, and then if it still survives, it should have another really big rally potentially when this finishes. So you're still in this like impulse here, and let me label this properly. My bad here. Let's do that. There, that's better. Okay, so you gotta go down more. Can you talk about 7-year bonds? So bonds to me broke lower, obviously, which means there's probably more downside in rates, but I believe that's still short-lived based on the bigger structure. Let's take a look here. Now the 7 year is a little different. We literally called the turn the day this happened on the 7 year. Now if we look, it's only 3 up, And now you have a pivot here and you're breaking down, right? So what I think is likely to happen is this is a connector wave for this move. And so I'll be looking for a double correction lower, right, to 3178 into this area. So it looks like it looks like that's the path it's taken right now. The bond market has spoken, and it's taken it's going to take this path down, and it's going to do something like this. And this would be your first connector. And now you come down, and you'll come down in something like this, like that. So that's what I would expect across all the bond market. So if bonds below this this peak on these charts, you know, should go lower. It broke that. We were waiting for that direction, and it looks like this is the direction it wants to head before higher again. All right, let's go back to Devon and BTU. So energy, unfortunately, I would not buy energy until oil's in our box. Again, yeah, I told our elite members as soon as oil broke the pivot here, 65, this one, right? I said, get out of all your energy trades. I don't care how much you love them, you cherish them, you have hope, whatever loss, take it, get out, because they're likely to go much lower. We broke that pivot, and of course it was a massive meltdown. Unfortunately, that meltdown's just starting. Energy is likely to find support at 55, 54. So we're in a new pattern in energy. This is kind of the original pattern where you have a bounce and then another low. It could go as low as $28 or $32. And so all those stocks in the industrial sector, we don't want to own those. They're tradable on this bounce. So there are trades coming, but those bounces are likely to fail. But you don't want to buy anything energy related until oil is in this area. And then if you're a trader, you can buy Devon, buy XLE, buy all those energy plays. Until then, expect the market under pressure and those to go lower. And it is what it is, okay? So let's look at these, Devon, energy. And again, I don't make the market. I just report the weather. I thought, you know, we were hoping for a breakout, didn't work out. So now we know the real intentions of the market maker. See, it was jammed up in here. Look, it broke down. We have our target. There it is, $22. So just hold on tight. And of course, it will be a bounce here. Probably when oil's in that 58 area, it will bounce to trap more people and then get rejected one more time. So something like that. And then BTU. BTU also broke a pivot, and that made a very bearish setup here again. And a very you have this 3 and 3, and now you have 3. So it's in the final, another move lower. You know, and here's our wave 4. The sweet spot of this is around the $8 area. I think that's the likely area where this will find a low. But I can't guarantee it. But obviously, you know, we want to leave. We don't want to be in this trade right now. It needs a full impulse. And right now, all you have is a 1 2 1 2, a 1 2 1 2, right, and another 1 2 1 2. So it's got more downside. That may be our first 4. So it's got more downside coming. This would be the area I'd be looking for it. But the setup isn't as clean as it was back up here. Unfortunately, that setup proved to be, you know, just a tradable connector wave. That now we need another low. What do you see as shaping up as a good longer term opportunity? You know, right now it depends on the degree of correction we're in. If it's the grand super cycle drop, I don't think anything's going to really represent an opportunity. I'll be honest with you. You're going to have to stay patient and being short dated securities and bonds potentially, but only to a certain point. And then after that, all bets are off. If it is a 1-2-1-2, then you want to go back into technology because it will come out of the correction because it'd have to come out to pull the market out in this situation, which was different than the 4-5, right? The 4-5 you want it to be in the Dow and cyclicals, but I think at the end of this correction you probably want to go back into technology, is what I'm thinking. But again, if it's the end of the grand super cycle, there's really not going to be any place to hide that isn't going to go down. Everything will grind lower in a deflationary collapse, and you want to be in bonds and cash and just wait out. And if you don't have time to trade it, just stack your cash and just stack your cash, and we'll wait. Typically, precious metals bottom first like in '09, gold bottomed before I think everything. So maybe precious metals would be the area to go into first when that looks like it's bottomed, and then we have other sectors, crypto potentially that didn't exist before that we can look at first. But honestly, grand super cycle will be devastating for investors. It's no lie. It'll be dark days. A lot of people will lose everything they've ever invested in. It'll be a calamity, a mass unemployment, you name it, all with all the trimmings that go with that. I'd say that just you should not right now. If you're a long-term investor, you need to think of capital preservation just in case we don't get this 1-2-1-2. If this turns into the grand super cycle crash, you don't want to be in this, or you will lose everything, and then it could take years, even a decade, to come out of it. I mean, I hate giving this bearish news, but guys, that we're seeing it happen, and I can't ignore what I'm seeing. I think we'll find support here, and if we do, then maybe we want to be back in technology again in some of our Mag 7 growth areas, like Nvidia, even. Tesla potentially, those type of stocks. That's probably where I would want to put my money. If this is a 1-2-1-2, I'd rather be in like the Apples, Nvidias, that type of stock, because those will be on sale really cheap, and those are going to be always good in the future, right? That's probably where I would put my money. If it's the grand super cycle crash, nothing's going to survive. Nothing will. Everything will go down, and your best bet is short date bonds. And stable value fund, 401k, that type of, and you just let it play out. Let the catastrophe play out. Okay. So anyway, let's see here. Yeah, Bitcoin is I'm being honest with Bitcoin. It's a massive trap. I don't believe. I honestly believe any investor that's buying it here, I think is gambling. I need to, and I showed this to my elite members on the live stream the other day. When you go back to the 2000 crash in March. Okay, people were saying the same thing up here. Oh, crypto's holding up. Look at that. It's so good. I'm so smart. And then in one day, we went from the 8,000s down to the 4,000s here. 50% drop in 24 hours. This is a daily candle. 2 days. 2 days. Just like that. And everyone was like, oh shit. And they lost all, and they blew their accounts up. I bet that's what's going to happen here, guys. I don't know when. Perhaps Monday. If Monday is this big Black Monday event, crash. Maybe this happens after close on Monday. But I believe, think about it. 80,000. What if it does the same thing and boom, we're down at 48, 50,000 in less than 24, 48 hours. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. So understand the circumstances of how quick this can move against you. This can move against you before you even realize. You could be out doing your business and come back and check, and it could be down here, and you won't even know what happened to you. This big drop in Bitcoin in 2020 was after hours, and it happened on one of the worst days in the market we had in that March COVID crash. It was right after the market closed, It held up through the market hours, and then as soon as the market closed, that's when it went and dropped that much. So it's the same. So perhaps Monday. Well, what if Monday is this, Black Monday crash? I would expect Bitcoin will eventually follow that within the next 48 hours. Like that's what I would expect, because that's what it did during COVID. And just be careful if you're in it. I would be on the sidelines. I can't tell you how I would tell you to be on the sidelines on Bitcoin right now. It is not worth risking that just because you want to get a little bit of 5% here. Let the market prove to you and break 90,000. Then you can get more bullish. Okay, so the divergences, I'll check them for you. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. Let's take a look at this impulse here. So right now, on the shorter time frame, you probably have to label this 1 and an ABC. So let's take a look here. Yeah, that very corrective, right? You're still in the downtrend on the 4-hour cycle. The daily cycle. Now this is where things get really interesting. You see this here? That could be the connector, right? I don't have this bear flag as the connector. I have the connector here. If I move the connector to the bear flag, then we're looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for an A, B, C. So that gets a lower target than what we have here. That gets you to 55,000. So just understand that could be the connector. But everything I see here looks good. It looks like we're about to break down at any moment here. That's what it's looking like to me. Let me go back and get rid of that line here. 4-hour. It's trying to figure out what it wants to do. See, it's just breaking down. It's just starting to break down. So I would label this way. And like I said, if you're long and you're hoping out hope, or you're long because some dude's like, oh, this is the most biggest opportunity, like you're just, the technicals don't show that. And I retweet other traders that don't do Elliott waves, pro traders that have been trading longer than you've been alive probably, and they're shorting Bitcoin here, guys. I wouldn't short, or they're saying they think it's going lower. I don't know if they're shorting it for sure, but they think it's going lower. They could all be wrong, right? But do you really want to bet against that? I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, they, like I said, they've been trading longer than they've been alive. But again, good luck. I really hope it works out. But if we end up down here, don't say I didn't warn you. Don't say I didn't warn you, guys. I can't stress enough how dangerous this is trading in this area right now. How dangerous. But do what's best for you, okay? Good luck. Okay, Nvidia, you can't buy it yet. Again, you have to start thinking about the bigger picture, because Nvidia in the semiconductor sector had a massive breakdown yesterday, and that is could be a catastrophe for investors. All right, so let's go to Nvidia real quick. Nvidia is somewhere in here. Okay, so Nvidia broke down in a 3 of 3 just like we expected, but we're still in the 3 of 3. Okay, there's just like the market, we're still in the 3 of 3. So as you can see, you need 4s and 5s to play out, and you go, is this really a 4 anymore? And I mentioned that Nvidia could also be in a 1-2-1-2 setup, right? A 1-2-1-2 setup. I'm sorry, 1-2, right? If you really back out Nvidia, you have a 1-2, and we could be in a 1-2, right? We're not there yet to call that, right? if we break this trend line, we have to call that in. Okay, we have to call that in. Okay, so we're not quite ready to call the 1-2-1-2 yet, but it's not looking good. Now, I expected NVIDIA to bottom out around the 80s on this 4-wave. Okay, that's what I expected. Let's take a look. So 97, 97, 81, 20 is the next area. So my guess is 81, 80s is probably the likely area it's going. But the problem is the sector, the SMH, may be correct in the grand super cycle. And if it is, then this is likely to continue lower and be in a 1-2-1-2. So we'll just trace the impulses out. But as you can see, there's a lot more of the sequence yet to still play out. And we don't know if it's still a 4 or not. But again, all this was expected. Everything here finally broke down in this very bearish setup. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And now we're breaking down. Now, could this be the first 3 and 4? It might be. That would be bullish. But we need to see Monday's price action to confirm that or not. So NVDL is not a buy. I would be looking at the other one. How do I short this? What can I do to short this instead of buying long? Don't buy the dip. Short it. Short it now. I mean, if you get the setup. Okay, if you get the setup. Buying the dip is not ready. It's not ready for buying the dip yet. All right, let's take a look at where we are here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then 3. So we need to erase divergence. All right. That looks okay. We're getting there. So just like the account. So maybe we are starting the 4s and 5s. Okay. So let's do our count on NVDL. It's likely to go lower. Right? It's likely to go lower. So we don't know. This looks like, I don't think that's 3. It's likely to go lower here. That's my guess. And then this lower area, the 16, 13 area. The box we put on here. Yeah, let's go back and check out the box here. Yeah, we need to extend the box a little bit. There. Okay, so it's likely to go lower in the box. This is too soon. It doesn't look like it's ready quite yet. I think this is too soon. I think it goes lower into this box. And then it could turn around. It could turn around. But like I said, NVIDIA still has more sequence lower. And if the SMH is correct in the grand super cycle, then whatever bounce you get here will fail again. But I think we need more data on NVIDIA. And I would say right now NVIDIA still shows like it's in a 4. If we can get some support on Monday, we could put the 3 in here. And maybe we could talk ourselves into a different count. And maybe we can get a little more bullish on it. Okay? But right now, I don't see it that way. Looking at the stock. This is kind of the chart I'm looking at right now. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's got a little more downside. All right. Yeah, BitX gave us the clue. It was like the market maker tipped its hand, or Aladdin, and we took advantage of that fully. It's very rare we find that situation happen. So BitX stuck in this Y wave. This was these boxes are more like traders boxes that it hit. We're looking at one more swing lower, and then we should swing back up. So we haven't broke this low yet. Now, if we break this low at 31, then it's almost certain Bitcoin's going down. And if Bitcoin's still hanging up where it is, like now you know where it's going. But it isn't. It's still stuck in this connector. So this could do a lot of things. You see how we have 3, 3, 3. We could be in a bigger connector. This could be finished, right? We could be in a bigger connector. So it doesn't unfortunately tell us much right now, other than you have 3 and you're in that middle of the area. If we break below 33.84, Bitcoin's likely to melt down. If it could come back up and break above 40.33, the connector in Bitcoin's likely to squeeze a lot higher again. So it's stuck. It's jammed up. It's jammed up, and it's behind the downtrend line. So it's still bearish. It doesn't really tell us much, unfortunately, right now. But I do think it has one more swing lower, like most of crypto does. Before maybe you can find a low, right? Right. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Something like this. All right, let me just kind of scan through the comments. GSOL, so we have to wait, and understand, like, our count here. We're in a C leg. We're in this C leg. It looks like it's just about to give it up and wave 3 of 3 to the downside. You have like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you made the 1, 2 right there. And it looks like perhaps Monday will be a bloodbath. So this obviously is going lower, right? And if you look at Solana, the count on Solana, I mean, it hit the box and got rejected, and now it needs another leg lower in Y. So there you go. It has to do all that and erase divergence. If it can't erase divergence, it will go even lower. All right, so something like that. So that's what I would be expecting. If we can finish this sequence and erase all the divergence on it, then it could find the low. It could find the low, a major low. All right, Dr. Horton, all right. All right, so we called the peak in 3 here, and now we're obviously in 4. We don't really have a connector wave yet. It looks like the first impulse is finishing up. Right, and we should get a bounce. And probably another low. So I think that's the count there. I think this one is good. Now it could always erase divergence and collapse, but I think whatever bounce you get here will fail for one more low later. All right. AMC, like I said, if the Russell's going to keep dropping, AMC is likely to continue with it to the downside. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look at what we had here. Oh, that was look at that. Did that spike? Interesting. Yeah, we finished that whole leg. I hadn't looked at this before. You see how we finished that whole leg? Let's look at all bigger picture. See how we didn't take this out? We didn't take this out. So very, very interesting chart. So it looks like it's starting a bigger connector wave. Again, this may be indicating the market's ready to rally, right? But it'd be, like I said, a sucker's rally. So my guess is because we didn't erase divergence, you'll get another. You're in this other bounce, and then you'll get another leg lower later. If you would have erased this peak on that drop, then you could have maybe had a major low, but I don't think so. I think this will bounce, and then go down again. How high is it bounce? Where does it go from here? Hard to say. Hard to say. It's real tricky, but I think that's the sequence you're dealing with, something like that. It is in danger here of a reversal, though. And this would be a very shallow bounce, but it is in danger of a reversal right here. So just be careful you don't get jammed up in that. But it could reverse and even make another swing higher, which could be likely, given that it's a higher degree bounce. Okay. SoFi, let's take a look. All right, we did call that peak. Unfortunately, I warned people at the time. We had no idea why this would collapse, but now with the news and the circumstances, it's not surprising to see this happen. Let's take a look at where we are with this. We're about to erase divergence, and if we do that, that would be pretty bearish. It looks like to me we're in Y. So my advice is let this play out more. You're still in the first leg of Y. It could be a 1-2, 1-2, and then you impulse an A, get B and C. It could be, you know, a W could have ended here, and you could get X, and then get a Y and finish later. So there's too many ways to label this right now. My guess is I'll just label it this way. You're in something like that. And then it either will finish the first leg of this corrective bounce, or it could finish the correction. It's probably likely to do something like that. So something like that is what I'm thinking. But you'll have to do what's best for you. But it does look like we're about to erase divergence, and you have a very shallow connector wave. So it can easily just finish the whole thing and just kind of crash. Have a crash correction here and finish. The potential level would be like 637, 458, somewhere in this area. So it could find support there. Okay. IFNNF. So here's our peak, and then you have some bearish divergence at this peak, and then you pull back, correct that whole cycle. It looks like to me you have a 1-2. Yeah, you're correcting the grand super cycle here in a connector. See the connector? It looks like it's about to fail. Yep, big in this one looks like it's about to hit its 3 of 3 to the downside. So the target is always the wave 4 low, and that's probably where this gets you to, which is at 1563, 923. Somewhere in that area. So it's likely the monthly cycle will break here, right? And then once it does, then you know you're in the end, the top was in here. You get that confirmation, but it's likely to head down here, and this is 1, and then you'll get 2, and then you come out later. All right. Oops. All right, so this one's still looks like it's still breaking down. Now this looks like a triangle connector, an X, A, B, C, D, E, and then you had 5 waves down, right? So probably something like this is probably what's happening here. And then do something like that. So I think we know where it's heading now. It could still be very tricky in this connector and whipsaw around, but I still think that's the target there. And then ZV. Let's take a look here. Wow, yeah, it just extended the connector around. So that's a crazy whipsaw type price action. 3, and then 3, and 3, and then 5. So now I would be expecting the final push lower. Right, this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like it needs a 5th wave still. Although no, it's already bouncing. So there you go. So it's in B. Hard to say how high B will go, but it's likely to have at least another swing lower. Yeah, this is probably you see how we took that peak out. So it's just a bigger connector. So something real crazy, like something like that turned into a big connector and dropped, and then came up, and I would expect this to come back below, but it looks like you're in B right now. You're in some kind of B wave. That could be finished soon, or already finished. It's tough to say, but I'm still looking for this final leg lower. All right, ROIV. Let's see here. It looks like you have 5 up from that peak. Yep. Three, 5. All right. Again, likely to go back to the wave 4 low. So right in here is where I'd be looking for. Something down like that is what I'm thinking. And then it could come out. Okay. All right, so CLF or steel stock, it is. I mean, either CLF is a no-brainer buy or it's going out of business and it's going to get a bailout, right? It's going to go bankrupt. I heard they just laid off over 1,000 employees. Their businesses, the tariffs somehow have impacted them to where their businesses coming to a halt. So something backfired there. The tariffs didn't help them. So be careful if you're in that stock. But I'm not ready to buy it yet. Okay. So energy is a trade. The best advice I can give you guys on the energy market is when oil is in 54, you can buy it for a trade and then trade it, and then you get another swing lower for the more of an investment opportunity. Okay, we were waiting to see where this chart was going to break, and it decided to break bearish. The bears overwhelmed it, and again, that scenario was the worst case scenario for the market, which, we always wanted to bet on the side of more optimism, but that didn't work out. People are so scared right now. So we're also going to probably negate this structure, right? So all of a sudden, Chevron, now we have to flip back to that bearish structure we had, and it looks like it's going to play out. So it tested I guess if you really had that conviction, you would have stayed short through this whole mess. But now it looks like time's up. The market has spoken, and we go lower. So because it's a flat, we don't really know exactly where the target's going to be. But obviously, I would expect more downside. Now, when oil hits that $50 area, you probably get a rally. And then you probably get even more downside later. Probably much worse than even this decline. So oil's in a bear market, guys. It's going to be in a bear market because of this setup we have now. And we kind of had in the back of our mind the way we topped. This was just, we never really corrected it, but now we're getting that correction finally. But chart support isn't to 100, so it's likely to go to 100, right? As this plays out, it's likely to go to 100. Okay, and it was like it all needed to do was take out ones. It just wasn't able to do it, and unfortunately, the bears came in at the last minute. All right, Netflix. So Netflix is a chart that I always update our pro group on each day, and we were telling them to avoid this trap. We were like, hey, this is a suckers rally, and we did break this low, and so that opens us up for more downside, right? A lot of people got jammed up in here, but people following my group, we knew not to buy this suckers rally, right? We knew that it would come down. Where do we want to buy it again? 780, 680. With divergence being erased. So there's a condition on all our buys. We need to make sure we erase the 4-hour and the daily divergence, whether we're in the box or not. So it's kind of two conditions. It's not just the price. We have to look for that. But look at this head and shoulders. Whew. Look at that. Look at that. Likely to go 700. So again, it's a big box, but it's likely to head down to this area. Perhaps retaliation is going to hit Netflix, right? They're a global company. I mean, what's to stop countries from, pulling the plug on these guys, or nationalism saying, gives Netflix, an American company, the middle finger, and they just lose subscriber. I mean, we don't know how this is going to play out, how this could impact. It may not be as safe as you think. Unemployment goes up in the U.S., people are going to cancel these subscriptions too, no matter how cheap they are. So I think this is the count right now, and we'll go from there. Now, long term, I like the setup long term on it, but short term, painful, right? We have a 1-2-1-2 setup, right? But look at all the white space we can play with. Wow, even more than that. Look at all this white space. Plenty of room for the stock to correct and still be bullish. Okay? It's very easy. The bounce here could fail again. Very easy to do that, and we go even lower and still be bullish on the grand super cycle. Would it be an investment opportunity of a lifetime? Absolutely. But where do we know it ends? It's just tough to say. We'd have to really look at the RSIs and understand where we are in the bigger picture when we get here. But it looks like this is playing out. And again, our pro members knew this was a suckers rally, and I recommended not trading it. Right? We actually tried to buy it, but once we made that fifth wave, we realized this was going to be a trap because you have an impulse, and that means you need another leg lower. It seemed unthinkable up here. People were like mad. Oh, it's going to 1500. Oh, maybe it isn't going to 1500. Maybe I saved you guys from yourself, your own FOMO. And now look at this playing out right before your eyes. Okay, all right. Let's go to the next stock here. This is not familiar with this one. Grisheimer. So that looks like the flat here. No, that's the top. All right. So you have one, and more than likely, this turned out to be a big flat. Got rejected where the flats usually get rejected, and now you're coming down to 5. So I would be looking for like a flat correction. I'll be looking for a flat correction. Did something like that. Real tough structure to pick up on. So now you have to just count an impulse. It's hard to get a level on a flat like this. But to me, I would be looking for a retest of these lows. But you really need to see the 4s and 5s play out, and you're really not seeing that quite yet. You're seeing a ratio of divergence, which means it could still continue lower. The problem with flats is they can just keep going down. But it's a crash correction. There's no way to really know. I mean, worst case, I'll give you my worst case scenario target. Typically, that would be like 2764. That would be your worst case scenario. So if you're thinking the lows in, the upside, I doubt it. I think it's looking at discount. It's highly likely it's going lower, perhaps even much lower. You see how we broke the trend line. The monthly RSI, once you see this break, then you know for sure you're in a flat. To me, this is kind of where it's heading for right now. Wish I had better news, but I mean, obviously the evidence is playing out right in front of you, and it's just it got jammed up in a flat, and it will hopefully come to an end, and you'll get out of it at some point. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. CLF, yeah, CLF. I really love this stock. It's just not ready for a buy again. I mean, are we talking it's going bankrupt or not? I mean, this is the talk that we have to start considering as it goes lower and lower, right? Like, again, they just laid off over 1,000 people. Their business, something is very broken. So what happened is we erased divergence, and so now we're, if I'm counting the waves, we have to have this play out more. Okay, so it's not it hit this. I think that's the historic trend line, if I remember right. Yeah, so that's a trend. So it obviously produced nice support at $6. But again, we're correcting the whole cycle from this was $1.30. Can you believe that? If we back in 2015, it was $1.11. So we're correcting that. That's the cycle we're correcting. So we have to ignore the box. There's room for it to go lower before it breaks to this level. If it breaks this level, then essentially it's going to need a bailout or go out of business. So I think somewhere the bottom is somewhere in here, $5, maybe $4 ish. If it can survive. All right, good luck. I mean, that's the analysis, and I definitely have a close eye on it. And this may become a 1-2 as well, a 1-2-1-2. If we go down any further, and that would probably push us to $3, $2. Okay, good luck on that. This is telling you something's really breaking with the economy, right? A company like this is kind of melted down like this. That's crazy. Especially the transportation sector too. I don't know if you guys realize the Dow Jones transportation sector, how much it's dropped, how quickly. That, like, it's almost like the global economy like coming to a screeching halt again, like in COVID. It's really interesting warning sign. Yes, so SOXL, it's very tempting to get in so cheap, but I believe the best way to watch it is the SMH. But I think the SMH may be correct in the grand super cycle, which means that's doomed to fail. All right, so if SMH is correct in the grand super cycle, it's likely to come all the way back down to $68 or $60. Okay, and we just pierced the line yesterday. So if we're correct in the grand super cycle, what I would expect, how I would expect this to look could be a couple things. We're in this three-wave move. We bounce soon, and then we go down again. So something like this. Now, so if SOXL, obviously in this X, would do okay, but I wouldn't fall in love with it in this pattern. The other situation is it's in just a crash correction, and we're oblivious to the coming catastrophe that's yet to befall the market, like with the AI and semi sector. So if I look at this count again, looks like an impulse down. We need an impulse down in C. Looks like you have like a 1-2. Looks like that was a great short area, by the way. Again, my elite members, I didn't have this as a short trade, but I was showing this and saying, hey, this would be the area where you're going to expect the reversal. And boy, did it reverse. A lot more serious than we ever imagined. I was expecting it to find support here, and it's just cutting through it. So I would be, that's why you need to be very careful buying the NVIDIAs, the AMDs right now, because you're in the thick of a massive correction. And if it does want to just do the crash into, those stocks are going to get annihilated for whatever reason. Again, the most likely path was the other one I showed you. That's not discount. It's a WXY path where it will bounce and then fail later. But I'll just label it like this for now. But if you look at that, you really don't want to buy the SOXL if this is the count until you see some 4s and 5s. Okay? Unfortunately. NVDA, let's take a look at that. NVIDIA. Again, NVIDIA's another one. Again, I get my pro group. We were on the sidelines. We stayed away from it. And wisely. Look, this looks just like the SMH. A 1-2, 1-2. And are we going to get a big... Is Monday going to be Black Monday in the AI sector? And this thing opens up at 80, 76? It's possible. Why? I don't know. Retaliation? Bubble pop? So this isn't done playing out yet. So we can't, and because it's because again, I don't know if it's a 4 yet or not, but because we made a flat we don't really have a good target. We have to just kind of follow wave count. We have to wave count. No. We have a wave 4 at 75, a wave 4 at 90. No chart support here until you get back to 49. This area is likely where it finds support. 80, 79, 75. That's what I'm thinking. So if you want to have a ballpark idea in mind of where I believe we can go, it's somewhere around there. Okay? Somewhere around there. All right, ARQQ. So it did hit this area, but it's only in 3 waves. If you break 1097, it will form another connector and a whole nother leg lower in 5. I think it's safe to say you should just anticipate that happening. And then that would be 5 waves from that peak. Right, something like that. And it can easily extend. In fact, probably in 4 already. So here's my guess at this. Something like that. Will happen. Something like this. All right, good luck. I think this is likely the likely path. Maybe you get a 4 and a 5 and a bigger rally in B soon. Market-wide relief rally, and then that falls one more time. SAN. Looks like we made that 3 wave is done, right? But that's a pretty big drop for 4. So we have to update the count, right? It's just not this bullish. It's not as bullish, but we'd have to update the count to something like that. But you see how we finished with no divergence? There's a couple possibilities. It's either what I just had, okay, this, but if you go down any more, then you're talking a corrective bounce in a triple, like something like this. And if it's corrective, then you're still in wave 2, right? And then it's going to come back and undercut these lows in a 3 in a something like that. Way too early to say that that's the count, but it needs to reverse like tomorrow. Like it needs to stop going down. If it keeps dropping like it is, you're gonna have to think more bearish thoughts about it. It really needs to find support like right here, right now. It really can't go down much further, or this bullish count is gonna be negated, and it kind of already is. So I would say wait for Monday's price action. If you still see it dropping, I would assume the worst, and unfortunately, and because then you really just have a corrective structure here off of this low, and because this is only on 3, right? So you have 3 and so this would be a corrective structure. But for right now, if it can rally and make one more high, I think that's what you need to see play out. So it needs to rally Monday. We really need to get this thing going, okay? AMC, yeah, just gave that. That's another one we always do for our pro group members. AMC, we saw this big rally. It looks like here, but the problem we have with the rally, and again, is it's another connector wave that we need a leg lower because we didn't erase divergence on the 4 hour from this peak to this peak, which means we haven't made the third wave yet down that we need. So the corrective pattern hasn't completed yet. So this bounce is likely to fail. But could it fail here? It's possible. But this area is an area where it's likely to get rejected. It could even do something like this. But I don't want to trade this middle area no matter what happens here. But that's the count. And we were kind of, drawing this out, waving, counting it, and it looked like it did everything we needed it to, and then it just kind of spiked back up. But it's likely to be another connector wave because the divergence isn't erased. All right, AZO. AutoZone's been doing pretty well on the Grand Super Cycle, but like all things, must come to an end eventually. Let's see where we are with it. So when I was charting this, we have this as all one, right? And this was such a shallow drop, right? We never got back to the 4. I bet you this is a flat. I bet this will become a flat here. It just seemed too bullish, right? It seemed too bullish. So I'm expecting this to turn into a flat and come back down here and hit our target again. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. So below 39.20, I would be concerned you're in a flat because it just seems too bullish. Now, if it's not the flat, yeah, if it's not a flat, then I'll just keep going higher. Yeah, I think because of that rejection and how solid that was, I bet you it's a flat. And the confirmation would be the break of this trend line right here once this breaks. So I would just be careful you're not caught up in a flat here. And if you are, just understand that may happen. Yeah. I could label it very bullish, like a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 setup, and it's gonna moon. But it just doesn't seem likely. Let me see this. Oh, see, it went well beyond. See, normally a flat would have happened here. Yeah, let's look at it and make sure wave 5 isn't extended. Maybe there's another way to label this that's a little bit better. Yeah, why don't we call it an extension in 5? I think that's the best way to call it. So that may mean it may need one more high to create some divergence at the peak, because you don't really have that here. You have it from this peak to this peak, but you also want some divergence there. Let's look at the daily. I mean, technically that could be the peak right there, that wick. So I think that's what we call. We call it an extension in 5. When this trend line breaks, you know the peak is in, and then 2 is likely to come back to the wave 4 cluster. Something like that. That's what I'm thinking. This looks like it's in 3s. Right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, maybe not. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1, 2. So it's actually moving as an impulse up. Yeah, it probably has more upside, but man, it's probably about to come to an end at any second, and that could be off by a swing. Anyway, it's a tricky one, but it's obviously been a favorite of many investors. But like all good things, it comes to an end. Um, Vulcan Materials. Let's take a look. All right, you're still okay on the grand super cycle. You do have some divergence there, so you still need to be careful. You're not at a grand super cycle top, but you see the wave 3 peak is back here. So so it looks like you'll be correct in this wave. It may have already started that correction. Yeah, it may even be more bullish than that. Took that peak out. Yeah, I would label it this way. So this is probably more bullish than others. So it's probably correct in this cycle, and tough to say where it would find support. It did hit a buy area. It looks like as long as it's above 214, there's a possibility the correction's over. So we could put the 2 there. We could put the 2 there. The bullish setup's intact. This is super bullish. But if you break below 213, then I think we have to it could be relabeled more bearish, and then you may have to start thinking this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But right now it's showing the really bullish setup. So I'll label it this way, and you can decide what you want to do with it. I think you could try to hold it long against 213.99 and see if it breaks out. Maybe maybe this is okay. The reason I have it as all these 1-2s is the peak wave 3 peaks are back here. If the wave 3 peaks were over here, it would be different. So what it tells me is either you have a massive extended fifth wave, either this is a whole fifth wave, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that means it will go all the way back down to $20, which I can't rule that out, or it's a discount, right? It's a discount, right? So I would have your levels, and you watch this RSI play out, right? If it breaks down, then it's going to correct the whole thing. And then this was some massive blow off extended fifth wave. And that means we're going to have like a global economic depression, guys. I mean, that is just a collapse, a deflationary collapse. If we stay within this and we can break out, you'll get your 3 of 3 just like you got back here. So we're kind of jammed up. I don't want to give you the perma bear chart discount. The perma bear chart discount would say this is a 5 of 5 of 5 that goes all the way back down to 2008, 2012 lows, wave 5. But it's too bearish. But technically it could still happen. If that the case, you would probably have a big ass drop, and then you'll know. But that's why I would just say 214 would be my line in the sand. After that, I wouldn't want to trade it for a while. Just let this play out, because what if it is that calamity, right? What if it is So we'll see if it can hold up here. If it can't, then I would step aside and let it just play out and see where it goes. Okay. All right. Novax, unfortunately, again, we kept watching Novax go lower, and I told people what would happen to it, and unfortunately, it went down. Right? It went down. I warned people that this would happen, and it happened. Okay. Unfortunately, let's take a look. I would expect this gap to get filled, but let's see the divergences here. First one, you have your 4 hour, you still have divergence, likely more downside. The daily, I mean, you erased it a little bit, not that convincing to me. One, and then if you look at the wave here, you have 1, 2, 3. Now, could this be 1, 2, 3? Yeah. So maybe, let's look at the front half of this wave. So this wave had 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it had a big 1, 2, 3 big connector. Maybe what we get here, maybe what you get here is something like this. And then another swing down. But I guess you can't say for sure, right? I think technically we don't have confirmation of the low because it's not a big enough reaction, but it did erase daily divergence, so it's not clean. It's not a clean look. I wouldn't be surprised if it continues lower, but if it could still push a little bit higher, then you'll be correct in this leg and possibly the whole thing, and then you could call this a major low. I don't know yet. I think you have to just let this play out just a little bit more to see will you get follow through or will it still continue to break down. I honestly think it will continue to break down no matter what happens here. But you know, you have to decide your conviction on it. But given the market backdrop and setup, I probably wouldn't want to buy this right now. All right, Cisco. All right, so we're looking for this 5th wave, but I did mention I could easily do this and call it topped in the grand super cycle. And given our count in the semiconductors, I think that's probably the best count to go with, especially with that big rejection. So now we're in this wave 2, so we're looking for $28. That's what I'd be looking for, $28. Now you look at this. This could be 3, so we could even have the peak still here. It could do a flat and come back down. But either way, that's the type of rejection I wanted to see to know the top was in, because a wave 4 won't do that. So it looks like to me the selling's just getting started in Cisco, and it will continue to be under pressure until you get down to these areas, and the correction just started. So there's no reason to even label it. I would just say be short as long as you're under 66. Short at will. You can short it right now. Just wake up in the morning, short it. It's just getting started. Think of all the investors that got jammed up in here. They're all gonna be underwater. It just got, even on that break, you could have shorted it right on that break at 58 even, but that could have still been a 4. But this sharp, to me, it's a false breakout, a trap, and this is the likely path. Okay. LTCN, let's take a look at that. So LTCN, how's that been doing these days? All right, looks like we're in this Y. Again, we're looking for down in this area. 1, 2, 3. So it looks like you have your first W. One more leg lower. Like I said, most of crypto looks like it needs one more leg lower. And then Intel. Yeah, how was that one doing? I bet that guy hit hard. So Intel, warned you guys not to chase this pump. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And look, See, the technicals are playing out, but there was so much FOMO, so much hope, so much, and all this proved was a suckers rally. It was just a big suckers rally, guys. These were think about the amazing short opportunities you had in this, and still to come. All right. Yeah, this one would have been a great short against that peak. So there you go. The worst is yet to come for these guys, unfortunately. XOM, so like I mentioned, oil, we need to see oil. Yeah, so we need to see oil. Oil needs to be in the 50s. Exxon will get a big bounce, and it's likely to fail for one more low in this oil sequence. Okay, so let's take a look at ExxonMobil. Again, we have to go back to our bearish. We had these labeled very bearish before, and I guess that was the right call, right? So we have to go back. So we're stuck in this wave 2 here. We're still in this wave 2, and looks like again this was just a flat, a trap here, and now it's going to play out. The wave 4 cluster is at 68. That's probably where it makes its final low. But I believe it's going to get probably when oil is at that 50 area, this will bounce in 4, and then you'll get one more low. So yeah, so that's what I'll be looking for, something like that. It's hard to say with a flat where you exactly end up, but this somewhere in this area is what I'm thinking. Okay. And then CLF did that earlier too. So CLF is extending the by a recent divergence. So we're extending the correction. And now I'm thinking like $4, 3.5. The line in the sand is the low here, 130. I traded down there in 2015, but it's still got some to go, but it's been a recent divergence, so it's getting worse. So this can easily become like a 1-2, like a 1-2-1-2, and go even lower. So I don't like to buy it yet. Maybe down in this area, or we wait for a confirmation bounce and then buy the pullback. Even better. All right. All right. So Tesla here, guys. Tesla's in a. I think Tesla's going to do something like this, but it can even do that, right? And then after that, we don't know. If it breaks this low, it's almost likely the C wave will fail and go even lower. If it can hold this low, there's a chance it can turn into an impulse, right? So we have to see, can it hold 217 or not? So TSLL is going to be just as erratic, right? So TSSL will do the same thing, essentially. So let's look at that. So TSSL buy here in that box. You see how it wicked and it found support. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if TSLL can't hold this level, which it's likely not to, it's likely to break that low, right? Then you're looking at it could get jammed up in a flat here in this whipsaw. It's going to get jammed up in a whipsaw. You know, our 5 up. And then likely for a whole nother leg lower. So I think this is probably the path you could expect it to take. And this may be indicating where Tesla's long-term future is at the moment. But the short-term, I think, could be very tricky and tradable. But I would rather trade this stock because it has a clearer structure than this. If this is to count, and then you need like a little more downside, like that, something like that. So tough to trade it. Not very clear setup, but you have to decide to do what's best for you. Palantir is a great stock to start to short on any real balance. It broke, made a technical break. Again, told my elite members this was a sucker's rally, stay away from it, and that proved to be the case. Now we're in the wave C, and unfortunately for investors, there's a lot more pain ahead for them. We're looking for targets at $48 or lower in that box. Until we get to that box, you could just short this thing on any pop, like you get something like that. If you see something like this, 3 waves that looks like this, short it. Short it all the way down. So this looks like a 1-2. And this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4. It could be another 1, 2, 1. So we'll leave it unlabeled. All right. But that's what it looks like. Then GDXU. Again, GDX, I kept my members away from those stocks because I was worried about a flat. And that looks like what we're getting. I gave them the warning here. So you don't want to own GDXU. Could be a massive blow up. Own the GDXD. Go buy the GXD right now. If this plays out, the GXD is going to make you a ton of money. And I think this is the count. We were anticipating this. We've been anticipating this since this peak. This is what I think is happening in the gold miners, guys. It's playing out exactly like I expected it to. And the reaction was sharp. We've broken down. We've only have 3 up. Everything about it. So the GDXD is going to go down with the ship. GDXD is taking on water, and GDXU is going to be taking on water, and I think it'll be a calamity for any passengers on this stock. They're gonna sink, right? It's turned into a connector wave. Never got the impulse, right? So got this connector wave. And yeah, and it's going to go down. So tough to say what happens here because this is hard to chart this. So this to me, I would say is like 3 and then 3. So it's probably the same pattern, right? I would time this buy with the GDX in this box. That's how I would do it. All right, guys. Look, down 30% in one day. Unfortunately, it's going to get even worse. Okay, and Baba. Again, Baba. We tried to go to extension, and then we got out of that. And a good thing we did because again, we sidestepped the catastrophe in the China index. Baba. So this is too big to be a 4, right? No, it's not a 4 anymore. But here's the problem. Here's the problem investors have. That's only 3. That's not a 5. This is just 3 waves. in something else. I think it's too deep to be a 4. So is it it's either a 1-2, 1-2, or it's corrective. And this could be one of the biggest suckers rallies of all time. A connector wave for this advance, and it seems unbelievable, but it could be. But I think what we'll do is we'll label it as a 1-2, 1-2 because I think that's too bearish, right? Because that would mean Alibaba's going down to break the lows. I think it would be like a 1-2, 1-2. So my guess is it's a 1-2, 1-2 playing out, and that means it could still drop back down to these areas. It's in a flat, so it's hard to say exactly where it will end. But we need a 4 and a 5. I don't see a 4, right? You see a 1-2, and you're in 3 of 3 still. So I think you just have to let this play out. Probably 197 is probably the area I would be looking for. The bottom. It has to be this 1-2, 1-2 setup. If it isn't, then this was a connector wave for this decline. It means it's going to come back and break $55 and go into the, and that's what it means. But I don't think that could happen. I think this is more likely. So maybe you guys that missed this move will have a second chance entry coming in soon down here. Yeah, for crypto, I'm on the sidelines. I don't recommend shorting or buying crypto right now. React to the move. Don't worry about missing the little bit of gains if it breaks out. Don't worry about it. Just wait on the sidelines and then react to the situation that unfolds. Because I wouldn't short it here because it's kind of gambling, or definitely not go long either. Okay, thanks, Bam. I appreciate it. Yeah, for Tesla, it definitely you want to anytime you guys want to play the leveraged tickers, you can time it with the regular stock, because the leverage tickers don't maybe move in impulses typically, and they move corrective. They don't move in 5s, they move in 3s, and they reverse split constantly. It makes it tough to chart those. So it's better to chart the underlying stock. Then when that hits your target, just go buy the leverage fund, right? Because by definition, it's gonna react the same way, right? So that's the best way to do that. Okay, let's go to the next super chat here. 3350 Meta Planet. Let's take a look at that. Nice little pump here. There's your wave 3, that's your wave 5. So you have some kind of, if I was looking at this count, some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, blow off top, 5. Unfortunately, usually the wave 5, you lose the whole blow off top. That's typically what happens. So most likely you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here in A. And because you have 5 waves down, you'll need another 5 waves swing down. So this is likely to do something like this. But we can get a target because it looks like you have the turn already in B. And that gets you right back to where I said, the wave 4. And this is, I see this constant and pump in these parabolic pump. I mean, this is like a textbook setup. You pump in an extended 5th, you lose the 5th, and then you find support. So as long as you're below 524, you can just short it until it gets down to these areas. Okay. Let's go to LQMT. Big pump. Looks like you have 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have 3. So it looks like it's going to do a double correction that could get you again a full retrace back down. Once you break that, I think it seems pretty likely, right? It's going to do something like that. Something like that. So that's an easy one. And then MUX. All right, so that's only 3, and we have this B wave. There's a possibility, more likely, I would probably put the 2s in, given the backdrop and the GDX and the SIL melting down. So I'd be looking for this to continue lower, just like this, just like we have here. And that's why we kept our members out of all the miners, AMAT, because they all look like crap, except for one, and that one broke down, and then that was it. There was nothing else left that looked good. AMAT, this was one we knew not to buy, right? The suckers rally, right? Avoid the suckers rally, but this was our main investors box, right? And basically we've hit it, and now can it go to the lower parts of the box? I think it can if it erases divergence, and it has. So this isn't a 4 anymore. It's another 1, 2. So it's going to extend lower. I'd be looking for the lower part of this box to get hit. But it's going to have to finish this impulse. It's got to finish this impulse down. So again, the next 24 to 48 hours is going to define the correction. But you can see there's a lot of 3s and 4s that still have to be played out here. So it can easily go lower in the box. I wouldn't buy it just yet. But yeah, it's in the capitulation phase. So this may happen quick. But again, we had the short here. And now it needs to finish up. So more downside. All right, so this one I mentioned before, if we broke this support, it would turn it into a connector, and now it's in a lot of trouble, right? So we didn't get so you're still in the corrective structure. So this was just the bounce in this wave. So you're still in the impulse down. So it's going to be hard to find the target, but you're going to have to assume that you're now in a 1, 2, and you're going to go 3, 4, 5. So now it's going to just continue lower, and it's going to be really hard to target a bottom, but you're going to have to just kind of trace that out, and at some point it ends or the company goes out of business. EF, ELF. Same thing happened here. We kept divergence in place, so we're still in Y. And we need another leg lower. So this one's a little different. Again, it needs a full impulse down. That's in 3. So again, this one's going to need more downside, and it's going to have to go something like that. And make sure all the divergence gets erased. So it's going to have to take that peak out. That one's okay. So so it's definitely got bigger drop coming. I mean, it could see 33. I guess these guys just aren't going to be able to cope with the tariffs. I mean, that's what this is saying. And some of these tariffs, if the companies can't adapt or their business model So dependent on some of these countries, and their margins are too tight. They could go bankrupt like overnight potentially. We'll find out soon. So this looks like 3 in a connector here. Right? This one looks like another A here. And C. So it's heading for this area. We have the target at $60, so more downside. Any bounces can be shorted until you get to this area. So if it wants to rally for some unknown reason, back up to $90, short it. All right, trade desk again. We sidestepped that calamity. And it was really the first stock in tech that really broke down hard. Kind of a canary in the coal mine. And looking at, hopefully can't erase that divergence. So we're looking at maybe this is finally starting to come to an end here, but it's not quite there yet. Here's my target, and we're getting close, but not there yet. You see, you need another big rally like you had here, even bigger potentially, and that should fail for one more low, for the low. So I like it in this 30, 32, 29, $28 area. And I gave everyone the warning to short this. Some people did, I know, that followed me. And then we had the secondary short area, which never reached on this pump, but yeah. But it'll be okay. It'll come back. This has fractal just like this. It's just playing out a fractal, right? It's an ABC fractal. It did the same thing here. I've already shown this before. Here's the baby version, ABC. See how it crashed all the way back down to the cluster here? We're in this crash, but on the parent version, that's the child. This is the parent. ABC. Here's the crash, and where's the cluster of support right there? So it's likely to go back into this area, just like you saw here, how it wicked back into and found support here. It's going to find support in this area, and then you'll have like a generational buy for trade desk. That's what I think is going to happen. And it's happening. It's happening before our eyes. All right, GE. Oh, GameStop, GME. GameStop's a tricky one. I think we're jammed up in a connector here. In an A, and draw this out here. So you have something like this. It could see this area, which is kind of where it ended on Friday. But it actually, it can actually keep going and be. So until this finishes, I do believe it will finish lower. And this is our box that we have right here. And we're correct in, let me relabel this for everybody here. So we're correct in this, something like that. And then this turned out to be a triangle. A triangle. Oh my bad. Not like that. Like this. Something like that. There you go. And that's how I label this. Something like that. Something like that. But this could go up a little bit more. Bitcoin, the short term in Bitcoin, I mean, I'll give you I honestly wouldn't trade it here. I wouldn't trade it at all. I mean, I could talk myself into that maybe you're still in 2 and come back up to 86. But not until you can come back and take out 88.9. It's the bearish structure still intact. And honestly, at any moment, you could wake up and it could be down at 76 before you can even realize what happened. So I just don't know. It's not. The structure could easily still be in a bigger connector, in like an A, B, C, and come back up to like 104, 105. I mean, it could do a lot of things here. And honestly, to me, it'll be just guessing. I'm leaning bearish because I have a bear flag. This typically means the trend is lower, not higher, because it's counter trend. The overlapping waves indicate the trend is in the opposite direction. So I would prefer to tilt bearish, not bullish. Okay. FCX, I think it should bounce soon. Yes, I think it should bounce soon. FCX should bounce soon because it's a slave to the XME ETF. The XME ETF is in the box, so this is likely to find support and this is a trader's box. It's in a trader's box, and you see I have 3 and 3. So this is likely to find a relief rally soon, like that, and then it's probably going to go down one more swing. So FCX probably will bounce if the XME can produce this rally. So FCX is likely to bounce in this 4 wave. Maybe you can get it back up to 34, even something like that. But I do think it continues lower into these lower areas down here. But I think this is it. And I was warning everyone about this potential more bearish setup and why we stayed away from it. And it looked to be the right call. Now, that there's no guarantee we get a bounce here. It could easily come lower into the box and the bounce come later. So I'm just showing you an idea that could play out. So this could still keep going and do something like this. And then you get this bounce later. So I just don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out. All right, MicroStrategy. Unfortunately, MicroStrategy still shows a short setup. It still shows it's in just a connector wave that's going to fail at some point. But trying to find the right short entry has been tricky with this thing. We had this here, and that looked to be the right call. Then there was another entry that kind of squeezed us out a little bit, and now it's breaking down again. So yeah, I mean, I still have it going lower. I have it going lower. It's just been a fight, but I believe the bulls are slowly losing their fight. The fight is slowly being lost, and I'll just label what I have in front of me right now, and then you guys can decide how you want to trade it. But I don't think it's tradable in this middle area. But I'll give you guys what I think the most likely path is right now, something like that. And the target, it's hard to say where the target could end up being. You see how long those 3 swings. So this would just be the first in many swings. So this could take a long time to play out. But I think I'll label it this way. But who's to say it doesn't keep going higher? You know what I mean? We just don't know. I wouldn't want to trade it, to be honest with you, but I would just watch it, and maybe we'll get another setup. MIGI, still in this Y. It looks like you have 3 down, and you need at least another 3, right? Because this is too short for this Y. Look at how long this W took, all the way. So this obviously still has more downside, but maybe, if anything, one more low. But I can't rule out another bounce and another low. So we'll have to look at the divergences at that point. But as you can see, you're breaking this low. You've completed a massive top-in pattern. So there's no guarantee. This could be a go to zero play. We don't know yet. Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Anonymous. Yeah, and I've got to wrap it up. I've got things to do, and it looks like I just came to the end. I always like to fit these live streams in on Saturday because most people can join. Yeah, and my members, I'll probably get our updates out either late tonight or tomorrow morning. I want to really understand what's going on to see completely where we may head in the short term because we're at a very pivotal point in the market. We're at a very pivotal point in the market, guys. But the good thing is that we'll get clarity very soon, early next week, which direction we're going. Unfortunately, it may be too late if to trade on that idea because it's Monday's Monday. I mean, if we get this Black Monday situation, then we know the grand super cycle's over, and it will be a calamity like we've never seen before. It would be basically no happy talk Trump could do will reverse it. It'll be too late. The technicals would be too late. Basically, the algorithms will take over. They'll start just jamming this down because they follow the momentum. The liquidity will evaporate. People will step away, and we'll be like, yeah, I'm not buying that. And then the market will just unravel. It'll be like a catastrophe. And it is set up to do that potentially Monday with the Japanese yen. Technically speaking, though, it is in a box. We could see this bounce, but I would expect a low. I don't think the market can stabilize, unfortunately, until the Japanese yen is down in these lower areas. So I believe until this situation happens, the market will continue to be under pressure, and you need to be prepared for downside. And perhaps all rallies are shortable until that point. And oil is also telling us where the market, like, we're not going to get that rotation play. They unwound the rotation play, like reversed itself. It was rotating in, and then everybody changed their mind when China retaliated. That was the end. The rotation ended. So now we're into deflationary recession or worse, collapse. So that means pretty much everything's going to get sold off, just like we saw in March 2020, until we get a stable bottom. All right, guys, good.